chosen one pause. On March 7th, Archangel Michael is screaming because you are about to walk into a trap. Stop moving and open this message immediately. Your safety depends on it. This is not random. This is not coincidence. And this is not fear. This is protection. There is a reason you felt a sudden shift today. A strange tension in your chest. A small hesitation before making that decision. A delay. A cancellation. A message that did not send. A plan that subtly changed. You thought it was inconvenience. You thought it was confusion. But heaven calls it intervention. Archangel Michael is not calm right now. He's alert. His presence around you is intense. Not because you have done something wrong, but because something around you is being positioned strategically. And if you do not slow down, you may walk directly into something designed to drain your peace, your energy, and your destiny. Listen carefully. March 7th is not just another date. It marks a turning point in your spiritual atmosphere. There's movement happening behind the scenes. Conversations you cannot hear. Intentions you cannot see. Smiles that hide motives. And one specific setup that looks harmless on the surface, but carries consequences underneath. Michael stands as a warrior, not a whisperer. When he raises his voice, it is because the threat is close. And right now, the trap is closer than you think. It may come disguised as an opportunity. It may look like a favor. It may sound like support. It may even come from someone familiar. But something in your spirit already knows. That slight discomfort. That hesitation. That inner voice telling you, wait, that is not anxiety. That is divine intelligence. The enemy does not always attack loudly. Sometimes the strategy is subtle. The trap is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply a distraction that pulls you away from your alignment. And once you step out of alignment, confusion enters. Doubt enters. Delays enter. Archangel Michael is screaming because timing matters. There is a conversation you are about to have. A place you are about to go. A decision you are about to confirm. And heaven is saying, stop. Do not rush. You were about to say yes too quickly. You were about to trust too easily. You were about to move without double-checking your spirit. And that is exactly where the trap was waiting. This message reached you before the event for a reason. Protection always speaks before impact. Warnings come before consequences. And today, you were given advance notice. Feel the shift right now. That sudden seriousness. That quiet inside you. That awareness rising. That is Michael stepping closer. This sword is not raised against you. It is raised for you. There is someone observing your progress quietly. They have noticed your growth. Your discipline. Your resilience. They see the elevation happening in your life, even if you have not fully seen it yet. And not everyone celebrates what is rising. Jealousy does not always look angry. Sometimes it looks helpful. But on March 7th, something will be revealed. A pattern, a truth, a hidden agenda. And if you are alert, you will recognize it immediately. This is why you must not move impulsively. Pause before responding. Pause before agreeing. Pause before traveling. Pause before investing your energy. Michael's warning is not about fear. It is about awareness. You are not meant to live paranoid. You are meant to live protected. And protection requires attention. Right now, your discernment is heightened. Do not ignore it. If something feels slightly off, trust the feeling. If a door feels rushed, step back. If a person feels inconsistent, observe quietly. You are being repositioned. And here is the deeper truth: the trap was designed because of what is coming next for you. There is elevation near you, breakthrough near you, recognition near you. And whenever breakthrough approaches, resistance tries to interfere before arrival. The trap is a distraction to delay your next level. But it will fail, because you heard this message. Archangel Michael does not scream for everyone. He intervenes when destiny is involved, and your destiny carries weight. You have been under quiet spiritual protection for months without even realizing it. Things that could have harmed you were redirected. Situations that could have collapsed you were dissolved silently. And now, this is the final attempt to pull you off track before your season shifts. But you will not fall into it, because now you are aware. Something will happen within the next 24 hours that will confirm this warning. A message, a realization, a strange cancellation, a revealing moment. When it happens, do not panic. Smile internally, because that will be your confirmation that Michael was already ahead of it. You are guided. You are covered. You are seen. And today, you were stopped for a reason. Stay alert. Stay calm. Stay aligned. This is not the end of the warning, it is the beginning of your protection awakening. My brave soul, something is shifting even as you listen to this. The warning you just received was not dramatic for effect. It was urgent because movement has already begun. March 7th carries a spiritual tension that cannot be ignored. There is an energy building around a decision you thought was simple. But nothing about this moment is simple. Archangel Michael is not reacting to something small. He is responding to something strategic. You may have noticed unusual behavior from someone close to you. A sudden change in tone. A delay in honesty. A conversation that feels slightly rehearsed. Pay attention. The trap is not loud. It is layered. It is designed to look normal, feel reasonable, and sound logical. But underneath it, there is an imbalance. And heaven sees what you cannot. The trap is connected to trust. Not blind trust, but misplaced trust. Someone is expecting you to move quickly without questioning details. They are counting on your good heart. They are counting on your patience. They are counting on the fact that you do not like confrontation. But what they do not know is that Archangel Michael stands between you and manipulation. You are being asked to slow your pace. If you were planning to sign something, review it again. If you were planning to commit to something, sit with it longer. If you were planning to meet someone, notice how your spirit feels before stepping forward. There is wisdom in the pause, and that pause may save you from regret. This is not about fear. This is about timing. March 7th marks the exposure of something that has been hidden in plain sight. A pattern of behavior. A subtle control tactic. A detail that never added up. You brushed it off before. You gave the benefit of the doubt. But now, clarity is rising. Michael is amplifying your discernment so you cannot ignore it anymore. Have you felt slightly restless today? That is not anxiety. That is awareness increasing. Have you felt a strong urge to rethink a plan? That is not overthinking. That is protection speaking. The trap was set days ago. Conversations were arranged. Circumstances were aligned. But what the enemy did not calculate was divine interruption. You were meant to walk into it blindly. Instead, you are walking into it alert. And when you are alert, traps lose power. The person involved may not even realize they are being used in this situation. Sometimes people become instruments of delay without understanding the consequences. That is why you must respond calmly. No accusations. No emotional reactions. Just quiet observation. You are not here to fight. You are here to outgrow. Michael's presence around you right now is stabilizing your emotions. You might feel more serious than usual, more thoughtful, more reserved. That is intentional. You are being spiritually positioned to see clearly. Something will attempt to rush you. That is your signal. Anything that pressures you to decide immediately is not aligned with your highest good right now. True opportunities respect timing. Traps demand urgency. Listen carefully. Within the next few hours or days, you may receive a call, a proposal, or an invitation that seems beneficial. On the surface, it will look aligned with your goals, but there will be one small detail that feels slightly off. Do not ignore that detail. That small discomfort is the crack in the disguise. You are not meant to confront the situation aggressively. You are meant to step back strategically. Delay your response. Ask more questions. Observe reactions. The truth reveals itself when patience is applied. And here is something deeper. This trap is not only about protection. It is also about redirection. There is something better positioned for you. A cleaner opportunity. A safer path. But you could not see it while you were distracted by this current auction. So heaven is clearing your vision. That is why the warning felt intense. Because what is ahead for you is valuable. You are entering a season where your decisions will carry long-term impact. Relationships, finances, commitments, location shifts, everything is becoming more significant. And because your life is leveling up, so must your discernment. Do not feel guilty for stepping back. Do not feel obligated to explain your boundaries excessively. Silence is strength right now. If this message is resonating deeply, make sure you support this channel. Like this video so more chosen ones can receive timely warnings like this. Share it with someone who has been feeling uneasy lately. Comment below if you sense that something was being prevented in your life. And if you have not already, subscribe and join this growing spiritual family. When you engage, you help spread protection further than you realize. There is more unfolding beneath the surface. What seems small right now is part of a larger reveal. The next layer of this message will make the pattern unmistakable. Hold on, because what is about to be uncovered will explain why the warning came exactly when it did. Faithful one, what is about to be revealed will change how you see the last few weeks of your life. Archangel Michael is not only protecting you from a future trap. He is exposing a pattern that has been quietly forming around you. The reason the warning felt urgent is because March 7th is not the beginning of the setup. It is the climax of it. The threads were woven slowly. The conversations were tested gradually. The reactions were measured carefully. Someone have been studying your responses. Not in an obvious way. Not in a offending way. But in a calculating way. There is a person connected to this situation who has been observing your growth. They noticed when you became more disciplined. They noticed when you stopped oversharing. They noticed when your energy became more guarded. And that shift made them uncomfortable. Because when you change, dynamics change. The trap was designed to pull you back into your old pattern. The old version of you would have said yes without hesitation. The old version of you would have trusted the familiar tone. The old version of you would have ignored that small inner signal. But you are not that person anymore. And that is why the trap is failing. Archangel Michael is screaming not out of fear, but out of urgency because destiny moments are fragile. When you stand on the edge of elevation, the smallest misstep can delay timing. Not destroy it, not cancel it, but delay it. And delay is what the enemy is aiming for. There is a decision tied to March 7th that would have entangled you emotionally. It would have required more of your time than promised, and would have drained more of your focus than expected. And slowly, without realizing it, you would have stepped away from something far greater that is waiting for you. This is about distraction disguised as opportunity. Think back over the last 2 weeks. Was there a sudden reconnection? A revived offer? An unexpected proposal? Something resurfaced that you thought was closed? That resurfacing was not random. It was strategic timing. Right when you were gaining clarity. Right when your confidence was stabilizing. Right when your next breakthrough was approaching. The trap is emotional familiarity. And familiarity can feel safe, even when it is limited. Michael's role is to cut through illusion. His sword is symbolic of clarity. When he steps in, confusion begins to dissolve. You may have already started seeing inconsistencies. Small details that do not align. Words that do not match actions. Promises that feel rehearsed rather than genuine. Do not ignore what you are noticing. March 7th will carry a revealing moment. It may not be dramatic. It may be subtle. A slip of the time. A change in detail. A reaction that exposes intention. When it happens, you will feel a calm confirmation rather than shock. Because your spirit was already prepared. You are being elevated beyond environments that once felt permanent. This trap is connected to your environment. Not just a person, but a space. A circle. A routine. A setting that no longer matches who you are becoming. And sometimes, the only way to leave an outdated space is for something within it to reveal its instability. That is what is happening now. Archangel Michael is not only blocking a step, he is closing a cycle. You may feel a mixture of relief and sadness when the truth becomes clear. Relief because you were protected. Sadness because you realize something was not what you hoped it was. Allow yourself to feel both. Growth often carries dual emotions. Here's the deeper revelation. This trap was never strong enough to destroy you. It was only strong enough to test you. And tests are allowed when promotion is near. You are being evaluated on your discernment, on your patience, on your willingness to trust divine timing over emotional impulse. And you are passing. The urgency you felt earlier is transforming into awareness. Attention is shifting into confidence. You are no longer walking blindly. You are walking guarded. Within days of March 7th, a clearer path will present itself. Something cleaner. Something that does not require persuasion. Something that feels steady instead of rushed. That is the alignment you were meant for. Do not chase what requires convincing. What belongs to you will not need manipulation to stay. As this message settles in your spirit, recognize the magnitude of what just happened. A trap that could have consumed months of your energy is dissolving before you step into it. That is protection at a high level. Now, seal this moment with intention. Type "I walk in divine discernment" in the comments if this message confirms what you have been sensing. Blessing code 314 is now activated over your decisions. And as this revelation sinks deeper, understand something powerful. When you sow into a message that protects lives, you become part of that protection. The Lord says, as you light a lamp for others, I will increase the oil in your own house. If this warning shielded you today, imagine how many souls are still walking toward traps without clarity. When you choose to give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, You are not supporting a channel. You are strengthening a watchtower. I feel led to say this clearly. I am stepping forward to guard what heaven is building. Your seed becomes a sword in someone else's battle. This is a prophetic moment of partnership, not a casual donation. As you release your gift, may protection multiply around your home, and may open doors meet you with peace. Step into obedience and give boldly today. Warrior of light, the atmosphere around you is no longer tense, it is strategic. After the warning and the revelation, something has shifted in your posture. You are not reacting the same way. You are not answering as quickly. You are not moving as impulsively. And that alone has already disrupted the trap that was waiting on March 7th. Archangel Michael's scream with the alarm. But now comes the positioning. There is a difference between being saved from a trap and being elevated beyond it. You are entering the second stage. Protection was only the beginning. Promotion is the continuation. What you almost stepped into would have tied your energy to something unstable. It would have looked manageable at first. It would have felt temporary. But over time, it would have demanded explanations, emotional labor, and repeated compromises. And slowly, you would have begun shrinking to maintain peace. That was the real danger. Not immediate harm. Not dramatic collapse. But slow erosion. Michael does not just fight visible battles. He prevents invisible drains. And the greatest drain in this season would have been distraction from your next assignment. You are closer to a breakthrough than you realize. There is an opportunity forming quietly that aligns with your long-term stability. It does not look flashy. It does not scream for attention. It feels steady. That steadiness is your sign. What is aligned with you now will feel calm, not chaotic. The trap carried urgency. The blessing carries assurance. Notice the contrast. In the coming days, someone may attempt to re-engage you with persuasive words. They may sense your distance. They may feel your hesitation. And they may increase their effort to pull you back into quick agreement. Do not mistake intensity for sincerity. When pressure increases, clarity must increase. Archangel Michael is strengthening your inner boundary. You might find yourself saying less, observing more, feeling less obligated to respond immediately. That is growth. You are no longer driven by the fear of disappointing others. You are guided by alignment. There is something important you must understand now. The trap was not proof that you are weak. It was proof that you are valuable. No one sets a trap where nothing of worth is passing through. The setup confirms your significance. Your growth hath been noticed. And growth attracts both support and resistance. But here is the truth that changes everything. Resistance cannot override protection. It can only test awareness. And awareness hath been activated inside you. March 7th will not be remembered as the day you fell. It will be remembered as the day you saw clearly. A conversation will unfold differently than expected. You will catch a detail you once overlooked. You will hear a tone you once ignored. And instead of doubting yourself, you will trust what you perceive. That moment will feel empowering. Not dramatic. Not explosive. Just quietly empowering. This is the maturity heaven hath been cultivating in you. You have prayed for discernment. You have asked for clarity. And now that clarity is here, it requires courage. Courage to pause. Courage to delay. Courage to say, I need time. Michael stands behind that courage. There is also a deeper layer unfolding. The trap was connected to an old identity. A version of you that tolerated confusion to maintain connection. a version of you that accepted inconsistency to avoid conflict. But you are no longer that person, and the old patterns are losing access. Do not feel surprised if some relationships begin to feel distant. When your discernment sharpens, your circle shifts. Not everyone can remain close when you no longer ignore red flags. This is not loss. This is refinement. Within 2 weeks of this turning point, a clear opportunity will appear. It may involve collaboration, relocation, or a decision that strengthens your foundation. And unlike the trap, this opportunity will not rush you. It will allow you to breathe. That breathing space is divine confirmation. Archangel Michael is not only guarding your steps, he is aligning your environment. Doors that require manipulation to open will quietly close. Doors that belong to you will open without strain. You are being repositioned for sustainability, and sustainability requires separation from instability. There may still be a final attempt to test your resolve, a message that tugs at your emotions, a reminder of shared history, a subtle appeal to loyalty. When that moment comes, respond with calm clarity. You do not owe access to anyone who thrives on your confusion. Peace is your new standard, and peace does not negotiate with pressure. Right now, something powerful is happening inside you. Your instinct is becoming sharper. Your patience is becoming stronger. Your reactions are becoming measured. This is the spiritual armor Michael has been fitting onto you over time. You are no longer easily pulled. You are anchored. As this stage unfolds, watch for the difference between urgency and alignment. One demands immediate action. The other invites thoughtful movement. Choose the invitation, not the demand. The scream you heard at the beginning was not to scare you. It was to awaken you. And you are awake now. The next layer of this message will reveal why this shift connects to something even larger than a single trap. There is a broader transition occurring in your life, and this was only the first sign. Beloved soul, what you thought was a single warning is actually the doorway into a complete life transition. The trap you almost walked into was not isolated. It was connected to a larger shift that has been forming around you for months. Archangel Michael did not raise his voice simply to block one decision. He intervened because your entire direction is being recalibrated. There is a season ending quietly. You may not have announced it. You may not have even admitted it fully to yourself. But internally, you have felt it. Certain environments no longer excite you. Certain conversations feel repetitive. Certain ambitions feel outdated. You have been outgrowing something, and growth always creates friction before separation. The trap was the final attachment to that old season. It was familiar. It felt connected to who you were. It offered comfort and predictability. But comfort is not always destiny. Sometimes comfort is the chain that keeps you in a place you were meant to graduate from. March 7th is acting as a spiritual checkpoint. It is asking you one silent question. Are you ready to move forward without dragging old patterns with you? Archangel Michael stands at crossroads moments. His presence intensifies when decisions affect your long-term path. And right now, your long-term path is opening into a new territory. Not instantly, not overnight, but gradually and permanently. The trap represented a loop. The blessing represents progression. There is a difference between repeating cycles and building foundations. The cycle you almost re-entered would have kept you busy, but not fulfilled. It would have required constant adjustments, constant explanations, constant emotional energy. And while you managed it before, you were not thriving inside it. You were surviving. and survival is no longer your assignment. You are being prepared for stability, for partnerships that do not require constant repair, for opportunities that do not test your peace every week, for decisions that strengthen your confidence rather than weaken it. But before you can step into that stability, there must be a clean break from instability. That is why the warning felt loud. It was not simply about avoiding harm. It was about refusing repetition. Think about the patterns in your life over the last few years. Have you noticed similar dynamics appearing under different faces? Similar disappointments wrapped in different packaging? Similar promises that led to similar outcomes? The trap was a disguised repetition, and heaven is done allowing you to relive lessons you have already mastered. Archangel Michael screamed with the declaration that your training phase is over. You are no longer learning through pain. You are learning through awareness. This shift may feel lonely at first. When you step out of old cycles, there is a temporary silence. The familiar noise fades. The predictable chaos disappears. And for a moment, it feels empty. But that emptiness is sacred. It is the space where new alignment enters. Do not rush to fill it. There is someone new approaching your life who operates differently. They communicate clearly. They respect boundaries. They do not rush you into decisions. And because you have tasted chaos before, you will recognize the difference immediately. The trap was loud and urgent. The blessing will be calm and consistent. Michael is training your nervous system to recognize peace as safety. You may feel more selective now, more protective of your time, more cautious about where you invest your attention. That is not fear. That is wisdom. Within the next month, you will look back at this moment and realize how close you were to repeating something that would have delayed your expansion. And you will feel gratitude instead of regret, because you paused. There is also a financial layer connected to this shift. The trap may have involved resources, commitments, or shared responsibilities that would have complicated your stability. That complication is being removed. In its place, a clear path of growth is forming. It may require patience. It may require discipline. But it will not require confusion. Your clarity is increasing daily. Archangel Michael is not only guarding your external environment. He is strengthening your internal discernment so that future traps are recognized instantly. This is elevation. You are no longer reacting to chaos. You are anticipating it before it reaches you. And here is something powerful. The person or situation connected to this trap will slowly lose access to you without confrontation. Circumstances will shift. Communication will decrease. Paths will separate naturally. You will not need dramatic closure. Distance will be enough. A distance is divine design. As you stand in this transition, do not doubt yourself. The discomfort you felt earlier was real. The hesitation was valid. The pause was necessary. And now, the path ahead is clearing. What is coming next will require your focus, your discipline, and your courage. But unlike the trap, it will not require you to shrink. It will require you to expand. The next revelation will uncover why this entire shift connects to a larger spiritual promotion that has been preparing behind the scenes. Anointed One, the silence you are experiencing right now is not emptiness. It is preparation. After the warning, after the exposure, after the emotional shift, there comes a phase that many misunderstand. It feels slower, quieter, almost anticlimactic. But this is where Archangel Michael works most strategically. When the noise fades, positioning begins. You were saved from a trap, yes. But you were also removed from interference. There were voices around you that subtly influenced your thinking. Not loudly, not aggressively, but consistently. Small suggestions, gentle nudges, casual opinions that slowly shaped your perception. And without realizing it, you were beginning to adjust your vision to accommodate others. That adjustment was a real danger, because your vision is not meant to shrink to fit someone else's comfort. March 7th marked the interruption of external influence. And now, your original clarity is returning. You may notice that ideas you once doubted are resurfacing. Goals you postponed are coming back into focus. Plans you hesitated on suddenly feel possible again. That is not coincidence. When interference leaves, alignment becomes visible. Archangel Michael does not only block threats, he restores perspective. The scream was urgent because your focus was drifting. Not drastically, not recklessly, but gradually. And gradual drift can lead to long-term detours. You were about to compromise something foundational. Perhaps it was your time. Perhaps it was your standards. Perhaps it was your direction. Whatever it was, the compromise would have seemed small at first. But small compromises accumulate. And accumulation creates misalignment. That is what has been avoided. Now you stand in a recalibration period. This is where you must be intentional. The temptation after escaping a trap is to relax completely, to assume the danger has passed and everything is settled. But this phase requires alert consistency, not anxiety, not paranoia, just awareness. There is a strengthening happening within your boundaries. You are less reactive, less eager to please, less afraid of disappointing others. That shift is powerful. It means you are no longer driven by validation. You are driven by conviction. And conviction attracts a different level of opportunity. In the coming weeks, you will notice invitations that match your standards more closely, conversations that feel balanced, offers that respect your pace. These are signs that your environment is upgrading with you. But upgrades require participation. You cannot slip back into old habits. You cannot reopen doors that were closed for protection. You cannot entertain confusion out of nostalgia. Michael's presence around you is steady now. Not loud, not urgent, steady. That steadiness is a sign that you are cooperating with a shift. There may still be moments of doubt. A small voice asking, "What if I overreacted?" That voice is simply your old conditioning seeking familiarity. Trust the clarity you receive. Doubt often appears when growth becomes irreversible. You did not imagine the red flags. You did not exaggerate the discomfort. You were being guided. And here is something important. The person or situation connected to the trap may attempt one final subtle approach. Not dramatic, not confrontational, just a light re-entry, a casual check-in, a harmless proposal. It will test whether your boundaries are permanent or temporary. Respond with consistency. You do not need to justify your distance. You do not need to explain your growth. Silence communicates strength when used wisely. This is the stage where your discipline matters. If this message continues to resonate with you, take a moment to engage with it actively. Like this video so the algorithm pushes this protection further. Share it with someone who might be standing at a similar crossroads. Leave a comment declaring that you choose clarity over confusion. And if you have not already, subscribe and become part of this spiritual movement. When you support this space, you help extend warnings and wisdom to souls who may not even realize they need it yet. Something significant is forming beyond this phase. The trap was small compared to the assignment ahead. There is a leadership quality emerging in you. Not necessarily public leadership, but personal authority. You are learning to govern your own space, to guard your own energy, to make decisions without external pressure. That authority is the real promotion. Archangel Michael aligns with leaders, with those willing to stand firm even when misunderstood. And you are stepping into that role quietly. Do not rush the next move. Let clarity mature fully. Let peace stabilize. Let your decisions arise from strength rather than reaction. The scream has become a shield. And now, that shield is becoming your standard. There is another layer about to unfold, one that connects your protection to a revelation about someone's hidden motive that will soon surface completely. Stay attentive, because the next insight will explain why this entire experience was orchestrated at a higher level than you first realized. Steadfast one. The surface has barely been touched. What you avoided was only the visible layer of something much deeper. Archangel Michael did not raise his voice only because of what you were about to step into. He intervened because of who was behind it. There is a hidden motive that has not fully revealed itself yet, but it is beginning to crack under pressure. The trap was not random opportunity. It was coordinated influence. There is someone who underestimated your growth. They believed you were still operating from your old emotional patterns. They assumed you would respond predictably. They counted on familiarity to override discernment. But they did not account for the transformation that has taken place within you. And now, their strategy is weakening. You may soon witness subtle frustration from this individual. Not open hostility, not dramatic confrontation, but a shift in tone, a withdrawal of enthusiasm, a subtle coldness. That reaction will not be because you did anything wrong. It will be because you did not do what was expected. You did not fall into the script. March 7th exposed something in the spirit before it became visible in behavior. And now behavior is catching up. This hidden motive was tied to control. Not obvious control. Not aggressive dominance. But influence disguised as care. Advice disguised as wisdom. Suggestion disguised as support. Over time, these influences would have slowly redirected your path without you noticing. But Michael cut the cord before it tightened. You may begin to replay past conversations in your mind and suddenly notice undertones you missed before. Words that felt slightly off. Compliments that carried conditions. Encouragement that steered you subtly toward their preference rather than your purpose. That awareness is not paranoia. It is clarity. When growth accelerates, manipulation becomes easier to spot. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. There is also a spiritual principle unfolding here. When you ascend into higher levels of responsibility and vision, not everyone can accompany you. Some people prefer the version of you that was easier to influence, easier to predict, easier to guide. But you are no longer that version. The discomfort you felt was your inner authority rising. Archangel Michael supports those who step into divine self-governance. And you are doing exactly that. You are learning to filter voices, to test intention, to separate emotional familiarity from spiritual alignment. The hidden motive will not erupt dramatically. It will dissolve quietly. The person behind it may slowly distance themselves once they realize access has changed. And that distance will confirm everything. You will feel peace, not loss. There is something else you must understand. The trap was timed specifically before a breakthrough in your personal or professional life. Whoever attempted this influence sensed momentum building around you. They felt the shift in your confidence, They notice your independence strengthening, and independence threatens those who benefit from your dependence. This is not about blame. It is about awareness. Some people do not consciously intend harm, yet they resist change because it disrupts their comfort. When you outgrow a dynamic, it forces others to confront their own stagnation. And not everyone is ready for that. Michaels scream with the sound of interruption. Interruption of control. Interruption of subtle redirection. Interruption of influence that would have limited your expansion. Now that interruption is complete, you are entering a phase of recalculated movement. Every decision you make from here carries increased weight, increased authority, increased clarity. That is why the previous interference had to be removed. Within the next few days, there may be a conversation that feels revealing. Something small will be said that confirms your suspicions. It may not be dramatic. It may even sound casual. But it will expose perspective. And when you hear it, you will understand why this entire sequence unfolded. Do not react emotionally when that moment comes. Just observe. Observation is power. The hidden motive will lose strength as your silence increases. You are not required to confront everything you uncover. Sometimes exposure alone is enough to dismantle a strategy. Archangel Michael is teaching you restraint. You no longer need to defend your growth. You no longer need to explain your boundaries. You no longer need to argue for your direction. Your calm consistency will communicate everything. This experience has sharpened you, not hardened you. There is a difference. You are still compassionate, still kind, but now you are aware, and awareness is armor. The next revelation will not be about the trap or the hidden motive. It will be about the reward attached to your obedience. Because choosing clarity over comfort unlocks something significant. You have passed a test that many do not recognize until it is too late. And because you recognized it early, acceleration is about to follow. Prepare yourself. What is coming next will confirm that protection was only the beginning. Radiant soul, what you avoided has already shifted your timeline in ways you cannot yet see. Archangel Michael did not just block a trap. He preserved momentum. And momentum is sacred when you are approaching acceleration. There is a reward attached to your obedience, and it is beginning to unfold quietly behind the scenes. The moment you chose to pause instead of rushing forward, something recalibrated in the spiritual realm. A door that would have required struggle closed. In its place, another door, one aligned with stability and growth, began unlocking gradually. You may not see it fully yet, but you can feel it. There is a new calm in your decisions, a new steadiness in your posture. The urgency that once pressured you has dissolved. That absence of pressure is not emptiness. It is preparation for something greater. When you refused the trap, you signaled readiness for promotion. This promotion may not look like applause or public recognition. It may come as increased responsibility, greater trust, a more refined opportunity. Something that stretches you but does not drain you. The difference is crucial. Draining assignments exhaust you without building you. Stretching assignments challenge you while strengthening you. What is coming will stretch you. Archangel Michael stands near moments of expansion. His presence around you now feels less like warning and more like guardianship. The scream has softened into strategy. The urgency has matured into direction. There is someone new entering your path soon. Not necessarily romantic, though it could be. This person carries clarity in their communication. They do not play subtle games. They respect time. They value transparency. And because you have just navigated a season of hidden motives, you will recognize this difference immediately. This connection is not a trap. It is alignment. But alignment requires discernment to maintain. The test you passed was about impulse control, about emotional discipline, about trusting your inner signal over external persuasion. Because you passed, the reward is not only opportunity, it is confidence. You will notice yourself making decisions faster now, but not from pressure, from clarity. There is a difference between rushed and decisive. You are becoming decisive. Within the next few weeks, something will confirm that your restraint was wise. It could be information about what would have happened had you moved forward. It could be observing the instability you avoided. It could be watching someone else struggle in the very situation you stepped away from. When that confirmation comes, do not feel pride. Feel gratitude. Gratitude strengthens alignment. There is also a financial blessing attached to this obedience. Not sudden wealth, but strategic increase. A smarter opportunity. A wiser investment. A connection that leads to growth without chaos. The trap would have complicated your resources. The blessing will clarify them. You are stepping into sustainability. March 7th will eventually feel like a quiet victory in your memory. Not because something dramatic happened, but because something destructive did not happen. Protection is often invisible, but its impact is profound. As you stand in this phase, do not underestimate the power of your choice. Many people sense warnings and ignore them. Many feel discomfort and override it. But you listen. You pause. You trusted the nudge. That obedience shifted your trajectory. Now the reward unfolds in layers. You may experience increased creativity, renewed motivation, a stronger sense of identity. These are signs that your energy is no longer entangled in distraction. When energy is reclaimed, productivity rises. Archangel Michael is not finished guiding you, but the tone has changed. You are no longer being pulled away from danger. You are being guided toward purpose. There will be one final internal test. A memory may surface. A moment of nostalgia. A brief temptation to revisit what you left behind. When it comes, recognize it as residue, not culling. Residue fades when ignored. Your future does not require backward glances. Seal this season with intention. Type "I step into my promotion" in the comments if you feel a shift happening within you. Blessing code 808 has now been activated over your next level. And as this promotion unfolds, understand that messages like this are not accidents. They are watchdoors for souls standing at critical crossroads. The Lord whispers, "When you water my vineyard, I will cause rivers to flow through yours." If this word shielded you from delay and positioned you for increase, imagine the harvest waiting for others who have not yet heard it. I sense this strongly. I am sowing into protection and reaping acceleration. When you release your seed through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, you are fueling a lighthouse that warns before storms. This is not a donation. It is alignment with a divine assignment. As you give, may clarity multiply in your home and may doors of stability open before you. Step forward now and activate your partnership in this mission. There is one final layer to uncover, and it will reveal how this entire journey connects to your long-term destiny beyond this season. Appointed One, what you walked through was not simply an escape from a mistake. It was qualification for a mantle you did not even realize was waiting for you. Archangel Michael did not raise his voice over something minor. He intervened because your next season carries weight. Real weight. The kind of weight that shifts environments when you enter them. The kind of weight that influences decisions around you without you speaking loudly. And when that kind of authority begins forming, it must be guarded fiercely. The trap you avoided was not just a distraction. It was a containment strategy. If you had stepped into it, your world would have become smaller. Your focus would have narrowed. Your energy would have been redirected toward maintenance instead of expansion. You would have been busy solving problems that were never assigned to you. And slowly, without realizing it, you would have postponed your true advancement. But heaven refused to allow postponement. Capacity is increasing inside you. You may feel it in subtle ways. Your tolerance for confusion has decreased. Your patience for inconsistency has thinned. Your desire for clarity has intensified. These are not mood swings. They are upgrades. When capacity expands, calling follows. You are not being prepared for something average. You are being prepared for something that requires steadiness under pressure. The test you passed proved you can handle pressure without collapsing into impulse. That is rare. Many people sense urgency and respond emotionally. You sensed urgency and chose restraint. That restraint qualified you. Archangel Michael stands near leaders. Not only public leaders, but personal pillars. People who anchor their families. People who stabilize workplaces. People who shift atmospheres simply by refusing chaos. You are stepping into that kind of role. And roles like that cannot be built on compromised boundaries. The hidden motive that tried to influence you was subtle, but it revealed something important. It showed you how easily influence can enter through familiarity. It taught you that manipulation rarely looks aggressive. It often looks supportive. And once you saw that clearly, your discernment sharpened permanently. That sharpening is part of your inheritance. You are entering what can only be described as an authority season. Not loud authority. Not controlling authority. But grounded authority. The kind that does not seek validation because it already knows its position. March 7th will eventually stand in your memory as a pivot point. A moment when you chose clarity over comfort. And that choice unlocked acceleration. There is a long-term assignment unfolding around you. It may involve guiding others. It may involve building something stable from the ground up. It may involve stepping into a new environment where your presence carries influence. But whatever form it takes, it demands integrity. Integrity is built in private decisions. The trap tested your private integrity. No one would have immediately known if you stepped into it. There would have been no public failure, no visible collapse. But internally, you would have known you ignored the signal. And ignoring signals weakens authority. Because you listened instead, your authority strengthened. You may soon notice people responding to you differently. Respect will increase subtly. Your opinions will carry more weight. Your silence will speak louder than before. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual alignment reflecting outward. There is also a structural shift approaching. A change in your routine, environment, or responsibility that places you in a more strategic position. This shift may feel intimidating at first because it requires a higher level of discipline. But discipline no longer frightens you the way it once did. You are ready for structure. The trap would have kept you reactive. The blessing will make you proactive. That difference changes everything. You are also being prepared financially and mentally for greater stewardship. The small compromises you once entertained are no longer acceptable. You are thinking long-term now, planning more carefully, evaluating more deeply. That mindset is part of the promotion. Archangel Michael protects investments of destiny. And you are an investment of destiny. The person who attempted to redirect you may slowly lose relevance in your life. Not dramatically, Not through conflict, simply through divergence. When paths no longer align, distance becomes natural. Allow that process to unfold without guilt. You are not responsible for maintaining dynamics that restrict your growth. There is a creative idea rising within you again. Something you once doubted. Something you delayed because other voices clouded your clarity. That idea is resurfacing because interference hath been removed. This time, you will approach it strategically rather than emotionally. Michael's intervention cleared the runway for that vision. As you step forward, understand this deeply. You are not rescued because you are fragile. You were protected because you are foundational. Foundations must be strong before structures are built on them. The final layer of this message will reveal how this entire sequence, the warning, the exposure, the shift, the promotion, connects to a legacy move that extends beyond this year. Prepare yourself. The conclusion is not about avoiding traps anymore. It is about stepping fully into inheritance. Courageous heart, you are no longer standing at the edge of a trap. You are standing at the entrance of inheritance. Everything that happened around March 7th was a separating line. On one side was repetition, containment, subtle manipulation, and delayed progress. On the other side is authority, clarity, responsibility, and expansion. You have already crossed the line. Archangel Michael's scream was the sound of destiny refusing to be postponed. Inheritance is not just about material gain. It is about position. It is about occupying a space that was prepared for you long before you felt ready for it. The trap would have tied you emotionally to something beneath your calling. It would have anchored your focus to maintenance instead of multiplication. But now multiplication is possible. You may begin to notice doors opening that once felt locked. Conversations shifting in your favor. Opportunities presenting themselves without straying. This is not random momentum. It is alignment catching up to obedience. When you chose to pause, you aligned with divine timing. There is a new level of self-respect forming within you. You are less apologetic about your boundaries, less anxious about disappointing others, less willing to negotiate your peace. That shift is the foundation of inheritance. Because inheritance requires ownership. Ownership of your time. Ownership of your decisions. Ownership of your direction. The version of you that always stepped into the trap was still negotiating internally, still seeking reassurance, still trying to keep everyone comfortable. But the version of you standing now understands something deeper. Peace is not selfish. Clarity is not arrogance. Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection and purpose. Archangel Michael did not intervene to make your life easier. He intervened to make your life align. Alignment sometimes feels lonely at first. When you rise, not everyone rises with you. When you shift, not everyone adjusts. But inheritance demands separation from limitation. There is a responsibility attached to what is coming next. You will be entrusted with more influence, more visibility, or more resources. And because of that increase, your discernment must remain sharp. The enemy does not only set traps before elevation. Sometimes traps appear after elevation to test sustainability. That is why this season is about discipline. You cannot relax into carelessness now. You must remain grounded. There may be a moment soon where you are tempted to prove yourself, to show others that you were right, to subtly highlight that you avoided something destructive. Resist that temptation. True authority does not need validation. Talents will speak louder than explanation. Within the next season, you will step into a role that feels larger than you expected. It may involve guiding others, leading a project, restructuring something unstable, or making a decision that affects multiple people. When that moment comes, remember this warning. Remember the pause. Remember the clarity. That is the posture you must maintain. If this message is awakening something deep inside you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches others who are standing at invisible crossroads. Share it with someone who feels pressured right now. Comment below and declare that you choose inheritance over repetition. And if you have not yet subscribed, do it now and become part of this growing movement of discernment. Your engagement spreads protection further than you realize. Stay connected, because what unfolds next will solidify everything you have sensed. There is also a generational layer attached to this inheritance. The decisions you are making now will affect more than just you. They will influence future stability, future mindset, future opportunity. You are breaking a cycle. The trap represented an old generational pattern, settling for less to maintain comfort. The blessing represents a new pattern, choosing growth even when it requires courage. Archangel Michael supports cycle breakers, those who refuse to repeat what limited those before them. You are not just stepping into a new season. You are redefining a standard. That standard will attract different relationships, different collaborations, different environments. Some people will not recognize you at first. They may say you have changed, and they will be correct. You have changed. You are no longer negotiating with confusion. As inheritance unfolds, humility must remain your anchor. Gratitude must remain your posture. Discipline must remain your guard. The scream that once warned you has now become a steady presence behind you. Not loud, not urgent, but watchful. You are walking into something prepared. The final revelation will seal this entire journey with clarity. It will explain why the trap had to appear before the inheritance could manifest fully. And it will activate a declaration that marks the official beginning of your next chapter. Prepare your spirit. The conclusion is not a warning. It is a commissioning. Valiant one, the atmosphere around you has shifted from alarm to assignment. What began with a scream has matured into a summons. Archangel Michael did not interrupt your steps merely to prevent a mistake. He intervened because you are being positioned for responsibility that requires precision. Protection was the first layer. Commissioning is the next. You are standing in a sacred transition zone. The old pattern has closed. The trap has dissolved. The hidden motive hath been exposed. The promotion has quietly begun forming. Now you must consciously step into agreement with the version of yourself that heaven has been shaping. Commissioning always requires consent. You cannot accidentally walk into this next level. You must accept it internally before it manifests externally. And acceptance requires confidence rooted in truth, not ego. Look at how you handled the warning. You did not panic. You did not overreact. You did not chase validation. You paused. You observed. You adjusted. That response alone proves maturity. 2 or 3 years ago, you might have rushed into explanation. You might have defended your position emotionally. You might have tried to preserve connection at the expense of clarity. But this time, you chose discernment over impulse. A choice is evidence of growth. Archangel Michael aligns with those who can carry weight without collapsing under it. The role forming around you demands steadiness. It demands someone who does not react to every emotional wave. It demands someone who values alignment over approval. You are becoming that person. There is a leadership dimension unfolding, even if you do not see yourself as a leader. Leadership is not always public visibility. Sometimes it is being the stabilizing force in a room. Sometimes it is being the one who sees through confusion and does not contribute to it. You will soon be placed in a situation where your steadiness matters deeply. It may involve making a decision others hesitate to make. It may involve speaking a truth others avoid. It may involve declining something that appears attractive but lacks integrity. When that moment arrives, remember March 7th. Remember how you felt the signal before the surface revealed it. Remember how you trusted the pause. That is the posture you must maintain moving forward. There will be whispers of doubt, not loud accusations, just subtle internal questions. Are you sure you are ready? What if you misread the situation? What if you overcorrected? Those whispers are remnants of your old self-perception, the version of you that underestimated your discernment. But discernment is no longer fragile in you. It hath been strengthened through testing. The commissioning ahead is serious, not heavy in a negative way, but weighty in importance. You may feel a deeper sense of focus emerging, a desire to organize your time better, to clarify your priorities, to remove distractions intentionally. That instinct is alignment. Authority without structure becomes chaos. Authority with structure becomes legacy. There is also a relational shift embedded in this commissioning. Someone stable will begin to recognize your stability. Someone who does not feel threatened by your clarity. Someone who respects your boundaries without attempting to negotiate them. This connection will not demand urgency. It will unfold with calm consistency. That calmness is confirmation that you are no longer drawn to chaos. A person who once attempted subtle influence will feel the distance growing. Not because you attacked them, not because you confronted them dramatically, but because your access has changed. And when access changes, dynamics shift. Let that shift happen without commentary. Your silence is not weakness, it is authority. Within the next season, you will be asked to step forward decisively. It may be a professional move. It may be a personal declaration. It may be a restructuring of something that has been unstable for too long. When you step forward, do so without apology. You are not overstepping. You are occupying. Archangel Michael does not commission the unprepared. He commissions the discipline. Discipline is what you demonstrated when you resisted urgency. Discipline is what you embodied when you chose clarity over emotional pressure. Now discipline must become your lifestyle. There is also a deeper spiritual inheritance activating within you. Your intuition will become sharper. Your tolerance for manipulation will become non-existent. Your timing will become more precise. These are tools for your assignment. Nothing about the warning was accidental. It was timed, calculated, allowed, because the trap revealed something necessary. You are no longer available for containment. The final step before full inheritance is internal agreement. You must agree that you are capable. Agree that your standards are valid. Agree that your boundaries are necessary. Agree that your elevation does not require apology. This is not pride. It is alignment with purpose. The next and final declaration will seal this commissioning. It will activate a blessing that marks the official beginning of your inheritance season. What started as a scream will conclude as a charge. Prepare yourself. The closing words will not warn you. I will release you. Appointed guardian. This is the moment everything converges. What began as a scream on March 7th was never about fear. It was about interruption. Interruption of delay. Interruption of containment. Interruption of a cycle that would have quietly stolen time from your destiny. Archangel Michael raised his voice because you were seconds away from stepping into something that did not match your inheritance. Now look at you. You did not fall into the trap. You did not surrender to urgency. You did not ignore the signal. You paused. You discerned. You chose alignment. That choice has officially shifted your timeline. The trap was real. The hidden motive was real. The pressure was real. But your obedience was stronger. And because you responded with discipline, heaven has responded with commissioning. This is the beginning of your inheritance season. Inheritance does not always arrive as money repose. Sometimes it arrives as authority, as peace, as clarity, as the unshakable knowing that you are no longer accessible to confusion. You have crossed into a level where your spirit refuses to negotiate with instability. March 7th will forever mark the day you matured. The scream of Archangel Michael has now transformed into a shield behind you. He is not shouting anymore because you are no longer asleep to your discernment. You are awake. You are aware. You are aligned. And here is the final revelation. The trap had to appear before the inheritance could manifest. Why? Because your discernment needed to be tested publicly before your authority could be trusted privately. You were examined at the gate of your next level, and you passed. You are no longer operating from emotional impulse. You are operating from internal governance. That is leadership. From this point forward, your decisions will feel different, more deliberate, more grounded, more intentional. You will notice that you no longer rush into conversations to explain yourself. You no longer accept invitations without evaluating alignment. You no longer compromise peace to preserve connection. That is not hardness. That is elevation. There will be people who sense the shift in you. Some will respect it. Some will misunderstand it. Some will quietly distance themselves because they no longer have the same access. Let them. Your responsibility is not to maintain old dynamics. Your responsibility is to occupy new territory. The inheritance ahead carries weight, greater responsibility, greater influence, greater impact. But you are not intimidated by that anymore. You are ready. Within the next few months, you will see confirmation that this entire warning was mercy. You will witness instability from a distance and realize you were preserved from it. You will step into an opportunity that feels clean, structured, and sustainable. You will experience a relationship or partnership that honors your boundaries rather than tests them. And when those confirmations arrive, you will remember this moment. You will remember that heaven screamed before you stepped into a snare. And now, seal this commissioning. Type "I accept my inheritance" in the comments if you receive this charge. Blessing code 909 is now activated over your authority, your discernment, and your next season. And as this inheritance begins to unfold, understand something sacred. The same voice that warned you is reaching thousands who are still standing at dangerous crossroads. The Lord declares, "When you build my altar, I will establish your house." If this message guarded your destiny, imagine how many futures can be preserved when this word spreads further. I declare this boldly. I am sowing into inheritance and reaping divine stability. When you give through super thanks, join membership, or release a seed through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content. You are fortifying a watchtower that cries out before traps close. This is a prophetic act, not a casual offering. As you sow, may open heavens respond over your finances, your home, and your calling. Step into obedience and activate your partnership now. The scream has ended. The shield remains. Walk forward.